Hello everybody, and it's Beth, and I am with you today to discuss Chapter 2 of Wired for Story by Lisa Crone. I'm still not sure how to say her last name. Somebody please tell me. Alright, so Chapter 2 is going into how to zero in on your point, which is something I know I really need to look a little bit more into, obviously. But as always, it starts out with the chapter heading, a cognitive secret, and a story secret. So the cognitive secret is that when the brain focuses its full attention on something, it filters out all unnecessary information, which is why when you were in elementary, middle school, and high school, you didn't feel the need to learn everything that the teacher wanted you to learn because that cute guy near you. So when you find something that you want to focus your full attention on, that's what you do. The story secret is that to hold the brain's attention, everything in a story must be there on a need-to-know basis. So you don't just information dump. And I know we've all read a story where the author information dumped, and we hated it, right? I know I do. And it's something I struggle with because there's so much going on in my brain. I'm writing, and there's so much I know, and I want you to know, and I get it in there, and then I read it later, and I'm like, whoa. I just wrote 2,000 words on how she did her hair and makeup, and, it doesn't matter. So I know it, and you can think about it, but I can take all of that and condense it down to Sky stood in front of the mirror for hours perfecting her hair and makeup for her first date with Joel. And I don't have to tell you everything that she did, right? Right. Maybe. If you want to know, you can always ask, because I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. All right, so the entire chapter is about getting to the point and how crucial focus is, especially in your theme, and it talks about what a theme is, what your point is, how not to bury your story in an empty plot, the keys to the universe, using a theme as the keys to the universe, how tone is used by the author and by the reader, and then it uses Gone with the Wind as a case study, and talks about how if you cannot create a sentence or two that completely summarizes your work and does so in a specific and engaging way, then you don't know exactly what your plot, theme, and tone are, and you need to go back and find that. And then it also talks about the goals of your protagonist and how to keep your story on track. So now we're going to the very end, which is the chapter 2 checkpoint, and we're going to talk about that for a second. So the first part is, do you know what the point of your story is? What do you want people to walk away thinking about? And how do you want to change how they see the world? So for my current work in progress, which is The Way We Were, I'm working on the second half of that book. I want people to walk away thinking about how something everybody else sees as benign might actually be a problem for the world as a whole, and how maybe they have something lying within themselves that could help change that. I don't know if that is the actual full-on theme, because I'm just now reading the book, and my story will change accordingly, I'm sure. Yeah. How do you want to change how they see the world? I want this to be a story that takes people and their friends and makes them look at their friendships and makes them look at how they can use their gifts and their beliefs to help mold the upcoming generation and just the world around them in general, like immediately. I don't know if that will happen, but that's what I want, so I know that I can add a few things here and there in the story that will kind of help move you that way. Right. Do you know what your story says about human nature? Stories are our way of making sense of the world, so each and every one tells us something about what it means to be human, whether the author does it on purpose or not. What is your story saying? Well, hopefully my story is saying that even if you yourself feel like you are just an ordinary person, there's something lying inside of you that is very special and unique and that you can bring to the table. And that is something that I think is kind of a trope in pretty much every book, especially every fantasy book. But I think it's still very important that people can read a story and see that it means that maybe if that character who's just an ad executive or a college student or whatever can then turn around and save the world. And I think it's very important that that happens. And hopefully my story follows along with that trope in a way that will help somebody when they read it so that they think that maybe they can be something special too. All right, number 3. Do the protagonist inner issue, the theme, and the plot work together to answer the story questions? How can you tell? So you need to ask yourself, is my theme reflected in the way the world treats my protagonist? Does each plot twist in turn force my protagonist to deal with his inner issue or the thing that's holding him back? Now, I have 7 characters that are main characters. I have, 7 protagonists, and then I have 1 main antagonist who runs an entire horde of little minion antagonists. And so there are different interior conflicts for each one of them, and that has proven a little more difficult to maintain than I thought it would. So I really need to go back and check out and make sure that their inner issues and the theme of the book and everything kind of coalesce. But right now, the antagonist is antagonizing the protagonists and really forcing them to think about if their special talents are really something they can use to help save themselves, their friends, and the world. So far so good. Then we have, do the plot and theme stick to the story question? The story question will always be in the back of your reader's mind, and it is the responsibility of each theme-laced event to keep it there. So the story question is, what is the story leading you towards? So what is the full-on theme and quest for the story? And I think my story's going pretty well. I hope. I need to go back over and read it again, but there you go. Can you sum up what your story is about in a short paragraph? One way to begin is to ask yourself how your theme shapes your plot. Put yourself through the paces just as we did with Gone with the Wind. It may be painful, but it will pay off big time in the end. Now, with Gone with the Wind, we discussed the general theme and actually what Margaret Atwood said that she thought the theme was, which was gumption. And then we used Gone with the Wind and kind of summed it up in different things. So instead of using gumption, we used love as the central theme. And then we used social norms. And then we used class structure. And it all came out sounding like different stories. So one of them was romance. One of them was kind of generalized society novel. And then one sounded a lot like a nonfiction. But if you put it all together, it comes out sounding like a romance set in the Civil War and talking about a girl with gumption striking off social norms. Will she, won't she figure out what she needs to do? And so they want you to go through and do that. And with The Way We Were, I haven't been able to do that yet. So with my children's adventure book, Polonius Punk, the storyline can be summed up as a young boy whose family inheritance is that of adventure, strikes out in order to find an adventure of his own, and along the way comes to some realizations about what adventure and childhood mean to him. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I have it piqued your interest a little bit. If you have anything to add to this discussion, if you've read Wired for Story, if you're going to pick it up now, if you want to ask questions, make comments, whatever, please leave it down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys again soon for a discussion on Chapter 3. See you later. Bye.